Evening, everybody. If you'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call this meeting of West Burlington City Council to order. As you can see that I'm not Hans. He's home babying his shoulder. He had surgery. We wish him well. So could we have a roll call?
Crowner.
Here.
Raleigh.
Here.
Stewart. Lees.
Here.
West.
Here.
We need a motion to perfect and approve the agenda as presented this evening.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda and also removing item number 5 underneath new business. Support?
Motion with support. Is there any other discussion or concerns? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion approved. We got the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Support.
Motion with support. For those of you at home that aren't here but listening, we have number 1, to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting on October 17th. Approve cigarette permit for Payless Mart at 101 East Mount Pleasant. Approve right-of-way permit renewal for Quest Communications. Approve payment to the Collision Center. Approve payment to the Suburban Fire Development. Approve payment to Interstate Power and Light. Approve payment to Electronic Engineering. Approve payment to eCivis Center. Approve payment to Des Moines County GIS Commission. Approve payment to Quad City. $87.23 out of the general fund. Road use tax is $8,353.92. Local option sales tax is $2,869. TIF rebate is $165,481.04. Tax increment financing is $3,452.55. Public Works building is $19.23. Water is $18,246.77. Sewer, $29,041.17. Risk management self-insurance is $2,959.92. Flex account is $260.88. The agency fund is $32.32, and the 4th of July celebration is $17.53. You guys have any questions, comments, or concerns? Roll call.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion passed. We'll go on to committee reports. We have finance, number 1.
I don't have very much new. I guess I would have a question of maybe Dan and possibly Leslie. I seen in my notes from the fire chief and my notes from you, Mr. Gifford, that we've got people working on budgets, which is always a good thing. But I wonder what direction you might have given them on those budgets, since council hasn't met and given you any direction of, we'd like to see 10% cuts or 10% increases. I just wonder what kind of numbers they might be working to on those budgets.
I gave them direction to try to hit last year's numbers, and just so I could see what kind of things they had on their wish list. And once our revenues come in, we have an idea where we're at, then we'll see which direction we need to go, whether we need to go backwards 10% or we can have the income to support the same spending as last year. But
The basic general direction is try to give me a budget that looks like last year.
yes.
Okay. Okay, got no problem with that, thanks. I don't have anything else for finance. I don't know about Dan or Leslie.
don't hear any heads rattling and nobody's verbalizing, so I'm assuming it's a no. We'll go on to streets.
I don't have any, Randy.
Just a couple things. Finally getting caught up, I think, on the leaves. We're still picking up leaf bags on Mondays. There's a few people that take advantage of that. The yard waste area, we're getting caught up on that today, or this week. It only took one day to get all the leaves hauled away. We're still sweeping, but not as much as we have been. And the pool is winterized and it has water in it, so we're done with it till spring.
Since he mentioned the pool underneath streets, I did have a question about that, and I should have mentioned it while I was speaking. I noticed this year that we had another pretty large number of white plastic chairs bite the bust. Mm-hmm. And there was a huge pile of them out there at the street shops that are now gone somewhere to, who knows. Are we gonna need to buy a bunch more of them before next pool season? And if so, my question would be, would it make any sense to be doing that during the off-season now, other than come spring and summer when everybody's buying them?
I know we bought some to replace those already, but I'm not sure where we're at as far as numbers. But yeah, I think we have in the past looked to supply that stuff up in the winter when prices might be better. I think we've tried to do that if we can find. We've been trying to stay away from that particular design, but we haven't really found anything way better that we like. So we've been picking them up locally, like at a couple of the lumber supply stores.
Oh, really?
So.
Last year, Kelly and I went to Menards late in the year when they put their chairs on sale and got quite a few chairs over there.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know what the deal is.
Well, I don't know that there's a right answer, and it just,
Yeah.
I mean, it just seemed like there was a pretty large pile of them, and a couple times I seen ones in dumpsters over there at the pool.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm figuring we need chairs, and I just thought, if we ought to probably be looking at buying them now. Maybe they're cheaper, I don't know. Thanks.
Does anybody have anything else for streets, for Randy? I see last Friday, coming home from work early, we had a fiasco down at my little corner. That's my garage in the Hawkeye.
Oh, a gas leak.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they were putting in some fiber optic in there.
those areas marked, I could've swore they were marked earlier, but they just.
Yeah, I think they were, but I don't know the whole story. I got there after the fact. Had to do a little evacuation and,
Human error.
yep.
Digger error.
Yeah.
We'll move on to public safety. We've got Chief Newberry. We have Mike Stewart tonight.
I have nothing to report, really. The 2 squad cars are gone from govdeals.com. They left this past week since the last council meeting. We got about 1,000 out for both of them as a total, but they're out of here. So, other than that,
Chief, have we heard any more about the vicious dog out there?
no, I have not heard anything. They were given the paperwork, and we haven't had no complaints. We have not seen the dog, so nothing more on it. And I haven't not heard where they had moved the dog. So
We did all we could do.
we did everything that we could do, reference the vicious animal, and that would go from here. If it did end up showing back in, then we'd have a charge right away and be able to take possession of the dog.
And we all got a report from Mike on the computer. Do you have anything, Dix?
I was just going to add that our media blitz that we've been doing is working very well for us. We've got several new applications. Tonight, they're up there testing a couple of the guys. Sunday, they're going to be testing a couple more. So that's working well for us. Getting the information out there in front of the public has worked tremendously for us. We went out and toured the Klein Center the other night, as the whole group did. It's very nice. It's a very large building. The sprinkler system, one of the risers was activated that night, so we actually got to see the whole system up and running, which was nice to see. Mapping it out right now. We're getting ready to do a pre-plan on it. So if we ever have any problems up there, we'll be able to find it with no problem. I do want to tell you that the tires for engine 3 were put on yesterday or Monday. So that task is done. And then we had to send Rescue One out to Center State today. It had a minor transmission leak, and it was just a loose fitting, so they tightened it up, and that'll all go over to Alexis. It's covered under warranty.
You said being tested, does that mean they've passed their background? Is that
They've passed their background. If they're up there doing hands-on testing, they've passed their background.
great?
So we've got 4 right now, and I think there's 3 more applications that I've been hearing about. so-
Directly attributable to,
Yes, and there's no way that we could get that information out there without being able to put that much media out there.
Delighted
The
to hear it.
posters and all that stuff has worked very well for us.
Mike, how many locals?
I believe out of this 4 here, 3 of them are local in town, I believe. I'd have to double check that with the guys at the application committee, but I think 3 of them are local, so. So it's working really well. Hopefully it keeps going the way it is.
Good. Anybody have anything else for public safety? Utilities. Here's not here.
We're just flushing hydrants. We started today. They moved along real well, and I think we'll probably finish up tomorrow. When Katie put out the notice to the press, we thought we'd probably end up having to flush on Friday too, but I think we'll be done tomorrow and be in good shape on those.
Sanitation, Dan.
Randy and I were talking earlier about the lift station. You might want to give them an update on,
They've been progressing real well down there. They've got one bypass completed. I'm gonna meet with them first thing in the morning. They're gonna show me what their plan is for tomorrow. They've started pouring the vault where the flow meter's gonna go, and very impressed with how things are going down there. We've never had this contractor in the city before, but they're doing a real good job, and we haven't experienced any problems, and things are moving along just like they're supposed to. So far, it's been a good project.
scares me. There's going to be that time when they cut the thing and go to those pumps and bypass, and then how long will that be before days, you think? Or
They actually, when we had our pre-construction meeting, they want to have our lift station back online every night
every night?
so that they don't have the pumps running through the evening and we end up with an issue or possible issue like we had on West Burlington Avenue a few years ago. So unless something goes horribly wrong, their plan is to every night have at least two of our pumps operational in the lift station. So, and the way it's going, I don't have any doubts that they will, so we'll see.
You don't need to be scared. Just stay away from that big hole.
Yeah, I keep wanting to go over there and look, and I'll just be in somebody's way. I don't need to be over there.
Other staff reports. Kelly?
We have our software upgrade working on the payroll portion of it this week. So they're here. We've got the general ledger and the project accounting and the receipt management part of it going. And that's about it. We had a wellness meeting this morning.
Everybody's well. Everybody got shotted.
And we got our flu shots last week. I think.
Right then. Moving along to citizens' inquiries, I'll open up the floor to any citizens that have any questions or concerns they would like to share with us. Step forward and give your name and address. Not seeing anybody come. We'll go into new business and tackle the new business at hand. Item number 1 will be consider payment to Snyder and Associates for engineering services in the amount of $1,367.55.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Deals with the construction services on the West Lift Station upgrade. The work has been done through September 30th. I have a motion and support. Is there any questions or comments? Roll call.
West.
Right?
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye. Item number 2 is to consider a resolution authorizing an internal loan in the amount of $19,100 from the city's general fund to TIF for the Broadway Street reconstruction project.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any questions or comments or concerns? Roll call.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
All right.
Motion approved. Item number 3 is to consider payment to French Renniker Associates for engineering services in the amount of $2,052.60.
So moved.
Broadway reconstruction project.
Support.
Motion with support. Questions? Comments? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
All right.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item number 4 is to consider request from the Western Pines to pay for concrete runners that were removed during the agency Broadway storm sewer project in the amount of $2,250. Dan, you want to talk about that?
Sure. My memo's kind of self-explanatory, but when we put the storm sewer project through the trailer court, we had to have the owner move a trailer from one spot to another because the storm sewer went directly under that trailer. And when we were negotiating the easements to the trailer court, we had basically told the owner that we'd replace whatever we took out. At some point, if he wants to put a trailer back in there, he can. That line's big enough that it won't hurt anything to have a trailer parked on top of it. He'd have to replace those, although the rules have changed, and now instead of those long concrete runners, it takes little round piers wherever the jacks are, and I'm guessing that process is probably cheaper. That's why he's asking for the price of the concrete runners back. Technically, we said we replaced what we took out, which is why I think you all ought to pay it, but I don't like it, but our
he's
word
not
is our word, I
replacing it.
think.
I have a real problem with this.
Good.
It's not going back in. This is money that, if he wanted it back in, we would have put it back in. He's going a different direction, and he wants the money for something that he's not gonna put back in there. My personal opinion, totally up to you guys to make a decision, but we've been more than fair through this whole project over there, and it needs to come to an end, in my opinion.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask is, you said the memo was kind of clear, but I wasn't quite clear on whether these were actually going back in or we were paying
No,
him.
they're not
we're paying
going
him
in.
the cost, his perceived cost, if they were going back in.
And he got a quote for and I asked our engineer if that price was reasonable, and he said the price was reasonable for that amount of concrete if those went in. Now, if he puts a trailer back in there, he won't spend that much money because I'm sure those piers are cheaper. I don't know. I'm guessing he knows what those cost, and if the other way was more, he'd probably be asking for more. That's just my logic to thinking that those are probably cheaper. But he'll have to do something if he puts a trailer back in there. It won't be the same thing. He'll have to do something. My concern is if we say we're going to do something, we'd ought to do it, whether we completely like it or not. I don't think we foresaw that he might get paid for something he didn't replace. That's not exactly what we meant when we said that, but we did say that we'd replace what we took out.
Randy, if he were next week gonna have a trailer put back in there and he needed the little round concrete footings poured, could we do that?
I'm not going over there and do that.
I don't
I'm officially finished inside that trailer park. Unless you direct me to go in there, I'm not going back in that trailer park.
I'm just thinking it would be way cheaper than $2,000 for us to go in there.
There's no way I would pay him for this.
Well,
And that's, like I said, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
We've been more than fair, and every time we've turned around, he wants more.
And then you read his letter here where he's awaiting reimbursement, his words. 3 tenants are awaiting reimbursement for their water heaters. I mean,
Yeah, I straightened it. He was in yesterday, and I told him that we turned that into our insurance and the contractor's insurance, and they both denied it. So basically, that's the end of it for us once our insurance company denies it. And he said, "Oh well, they'll have to deal with that."
What does water heaters have to do with the project that we did?
Apparently, the contractor accidentally broke a water main one day, and it drained all their water heaters out. And
Not all of them.
well, there's a couple. There's 3 different people out of the whole trailer court that were affected. They were told by a plumber that
The water line that the contractor hit, they didn't know exactly where it was because there was no plans that were supplied. So it was kind of everybody's best guess. So I don't have any problem with what we've done over there. We were supposed to put asphalt back in for the street. We put in concrete with curb and gutter. There's no drainage issues over there. We went above and beyond on that project.
Well, I know we kept redoing stuff and making it a little better than what was originally priced out. So has he put these runners in?
no.
No, he won't.
he won't.
They don't use that system anymore, so
One thing
he
we
wants
will-
paid for something that's not gonna go back in.
One thing we decided we would do, since we know this isn't a direct reimbursement, we're gonna send him a 1099, so he has to pay income tax on this money that, if you choose to pay it. Because we aren't reimbursing him for a cost. We're writing him a check
To do with as he
to do with
wishes.
as he pleases.
Yeah.
He may or may not do anything with it, but
I'd rather figure out a way we can supply him with the concrete that he needs for reinstalling the trailer court on that piece of property. If he can call us up when he's getting ready to do that, we can react then.
That's the way I feel, is that, of course, we're gonna have to make a motion on this, but, if he needs it, and he's gonna move a trailer in, then he can come in and talk to us, and we can make a decision of somewhat way that way.
I'd rather be presented with the bill for the work done than,
Yeah,
Yeah, instead of just flipping out money, 'cause
Absolutely.
we don't do that.
if he wants to hire it out, that's
But
fine.
we have to go ahead with the motion in either yeah or nay, so,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, somebody come out with an auger and drill some little holes and pour in some concrete.
I think you need to see a bill if you're gonna go that direction, an itemized bill.
Well, I'd rather see
Of the
the,
cost, because there's not much concrete involved by
No.
putting those piers in.
It's gonna be way less than $2,250.
So, to do this correctly, I'll make a motion to approve this payment.
and I support.
you're making a motion to what?
I make a motion to approve it.
Approve it? Okay.
And I support it.
And now we're moving to a roll call vote.
All right. Is there any other more discussion on this?
When this work is done and an invoice is presented to the city, I would be more than happy to live up to our promise. Otherwise, I plan to vote no.
Invoices and itemized? Oh, okay. All right. Roll call.
Crowner,
No.
Raleigh,
Nay.
Lees,
Nay.
West.
Nay.
Motion failed. All right. We'll move on to item number 6, since we pulled item number 5. 6 is to consider the purchase of firefighter gear utilizing funds from the 2011 SAFER grant.
This stuff's expensive, isn't it? But she'll be the first trainee to be fully equipped
With all new gear.
with all new gear.
I mean, top to bottom.
That's great.
Boots, coat, everything.
Motion of support here.
Second.
So you made the original motion
Yeah,
rather than
I
support.
did them both. I just saving time.
I'm thinking, well, who made it down that way? I'm deaf on that side. All right. Motion with support. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Raleigh,
Nay.
Lees,
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion approved. Item number 7 is to consider a purchase of a nozzle for the sewer jet. Andy, is this a nozzle that we don't have? It sounds-
Right. It's, we budgeted Actually, we budgeted for a different one that was almost twice as much, but last year we borrowed one before we got our new truck, from Tom Fisher. We had an area that had a lot of roots and grease in it, and, the nozzle that he used removed all the roots and all the grease. The only reason I know that is because he televised it after we finished up, and it's not quite half the price, but it's close. Like I said, it's a budgeted item. We won't use it all the time, but when we know we have a problem with roots and grease, we'll put it on, and it does an excellent job of cleaning the lines out. It's been very useful having Tom come in and TV behind us as we clean our lines. We can see if we miss some grease or some roots or something, we can go back in, clean it, and he TVs it, and then we can see what's going on down there. So this would be a very useful nozzle to have when we do need it.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any other questions or comments?
Just that it was a budgeted item and falls in there.
Sounds like it's a worthy tool. Roll call.
Lees,
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item number 8 is to consider the annual finance report for fiscal year 2012. Leslie, take this.
Every year we're required to file an annual,
Excuse me, would you grab that microphone and just, somebody, have a duel.
both of you.
You talk too soft.
Every year, we're required to file an annual financial report with the state by December 1st. It shows all of our expenditures and our revenues by the different functions. It's basically, it's basically the same as the audit report, which is your next item on the agenda.
I saw on page 2 there, under number 19, rents and royalties, we get $26,000 in rent. Is that house that the city owns?
We got water tower rental, with antennas on the water towers. There's 2 of those contracts that we have in the rental from the house.
And the other thing I just noticed, I was just curious about, park recreation cultural charges, $94,000?
Was that Park and Rec what?
Park recreation and cultural charges.
That's the pool, that's the pool.
That's the pool, okay.
You didn't know about that art museum we had?
That looked like a big number.
That's just salary.
Rembrandt's cost a lot of money.
Have you published this?
It's gonna go in the Des Moines County News tomorrow, should be coming out tomorrow.
Are you needing a motion on this?
Sure, what you want? What do you want from us?
Yes, just make a motion to approve it and second it, please.
So moved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any other comments or concerns?
It's just always nice to see all those,
See where all the money
no
goes.
misstatements were, no such disagreements arose. That's nice.
It's a lot of numbers and interesting reading if you're into numbers.
I've heard
Adds
that
up
some
past
people.
21, so I'm not in. All right. Roll call, Kelly.
West,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye. Motion passed. We'll move on down to the old business, which would be item number 1, consider accepting the audited financial statements for fiscal year 2012.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any comments?
Want to really have a fun evening? Sit down with this one and that last one?
Couple of cherry cokes.
All right, roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Motion approved. Let's see, Hans didn't leave me anything to talk about. I'll open up for citizens' inquiries one more time. I don't see anybody coming. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'm proud of you, Dave. You're well behaved.
Yeah.